What's up, Vivint Nation? My name is Sean Buffelli, and I'm here to bring you guys a little training on closing and price drop. First thing I want to talk about is the couple rules that I have when I'm closing. Number one rule is you don't present price until you've had time to build value properly. Customers are going to ask you during your sales process for price, and that's okay because that's a buying question. But you don't want to, present the price until you've done a good job building value. So a simple way that I handle that kind of question before I go into price drop is, hey, I really appreciate you asking. The way it works is I'm going to explain to you the system so you know what it does and what it's capable of. And then we're going to customize you a package, and I'll show you how we've been helping out a lot of your neighbors. Second rule is you always want to try to be sitting. Never drop price, standing up if you can avoid it. Always be sitting in a comfortable spot where the customer is also comfortable. A lot of people's purchasing and buying decisions is just kind of based on their feeling. So we want to make sure that they're in a comfortable setting where they're feeling good. And if you can, get to the kitchen table, because that's typically where people make important decisions. When families sit down and talk about matters, they normally go to the kitchen table to speak about it. So if you can get to the kitchen table, that'd be number one. If not, find a couch to sit on where everybody can be seated. Worst case scenario, maybe like table outside, but anywhere that you are dropping price, make sure you're sitting. Also, write it down. Never just drop price verbally. It's always important that you write your price drop down so that they can actually see it in writing, black and white. And then kind of the last thing is just be confident and bring the energy in when you're dropping price. I feel like for a lot of rookies in particular, this is where you get the most nervous because it's kind of the end of the sales process. And, if you don't get this right, maybe the sale won't go. So just make sure you're confident when you're dropping price, even if you don't know exactly what you're doing at first. Be confident with your price drop, keep it simple, keep the explanation, easy so the customer can understand it, and then that they're confident in their ability to make a decision. So those are my tips in, dropping price. Those are the keys I would, kind of make sure are in place before I actually go into my price presentation. So the next part of the close that I'm going to talk about is the qualifying questions. I think this is a really important part of closing and really eliminating, some buying pressure and getting the value as high as possible before I drop price. So I simply say something like, hey, now Mr. Customer, we want to make sure that we do an excellent job for you and that, Vivint is a good fit for you and your household. So the company just has me ask you some questions just to make sure that, we're doing a good job for you guys. First question would be, the idea of security for your home and family. Do you see this as something as used in short term or long term? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say long term. And then I ask them why they say long term, and they can explain to me, why they value security long term. And a big reason why I ask this question is it allows me to kind of handle a contract objection at the end of the sale if you do get one. Another question that I'm going to ask is, would you see yourself using the alarm system more when you're home or away or both? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say both. And the reason why I ask this question is because I want to tie them down to actually using the security system. It's not all just about the cameras and the smart home. The customer should, feel that peace of mind and, plan on actually arming the security system, when they go to bed and when they leave their house. Because at the end of the day, that's a big part of the service that they're paying for. Another question that I'm going to ask is, hey, out of all the products that you've selected for your home, which do you feel are the most valuable, or what do you think you're going to get the most use out of? And this is just a way for the customer to build value in their own voice and build value on the products that they see the most useful for. And it just kind of ties them down to owning and using the products. One of the other questions I'm going to ask is if they are vocal. Hey, are you a vocal household? So typically if you have something that you use and you like, would you refer friends or family or neighbors? Again, they're going to say yes. And then I'm going to ask, who do you think would be the first person you're going to, tell about this? And then right then and there, you have your first referral. And then even take it a step further and say, hey, why would you tell your mom? Why would you tell your sister? Why would you tell your brother? Whoever they say that they're going to tell. And then they just kind of build value on why their friends or family are also going to benefit from the Vivint system. And, basically locks down your first referral and, also kind of ties them down to, having the system as well. And then the last question I'm going to ask is pretty simple. Hey, if a neighbor asks you why you decided to switch from ADT to Vivint, or why you decided to get Vivint after living here for 15 years and never having an alarm, what do you think you would tell them about the system? That way they can kind of, again, explain why they would be choosing Vivint today, why they're switching over from ADT to Vivint. And again, it just helps the prospect kind of solidify in their mind, logically, why they're making this decision. And after I go through those questions, I feel like the value is at the greatest point that it is in the sale. And then I'm going to go on to the price drop. For this next section, we're going to talk about value amplification and actually presenting the numbers to the customer. So after I go over the qualifying questions, I'll just simply kind of make a statement like, hey, from the way that you answer the questions, it seems like we would be a good fit for you. It seems like you're going to love the system and you're going to use it pretty much every single day. Now I'll show you what something like this would typically cost, and then what we can do for you with the program that we're running in the area right now. And then I'll ask the customer, hey, if you went out to Best Buy and you pieced all this technology together, what do you think something like this would typically cost you? Considering you're getting this, and I'll list off everything that they'd be getting with their package, and have the customer just give me a ballpark number on how much they think this would cost. And normally they're pretty close. If you've done a good job building value, they should tell you, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And then that's when I go into the price of the equipment, install, and activation. And what I personally like to do is kind of break down every piece of equipment. These doorbell cameras normally go for $249. This outdoor camera normally goes for $399. This spotlight's $250. Thermostat is $179. And I'll go through every piece of equipment and briefly tell them the cost. That way, when I'm presenting them with the $3,500 or $4,000 worth of equipment, they actually know where it came from. They know how we have arrived to that number. So I'll kind of lay out the equipment costs. Hey, typically your equipment would be about $3,500. Now Vivint does charge $399 to come out here and professionally install a system like this. And there's a one-time activation fee of $199 to connect it to the cell phone towers, police, fire, paramedics. So I'll outline the total out-of-pocket costs, for them first, and then I'll go into the service. And with the service, I like to compare it to a cell phone because I don't know, 100% of the people you're going to talk to, probably have a cell phone bill, and it's something that they're used to paying. So when you compare it to something that they're used to paying, just psychologically, it's going to make more sense, why it costs, what it does. So I'll pretty simply ask them like, hey, Mr. Customer, I'd like to compare the smart home to a smartphone. And what are you guys paying for your cell phones? And they'll normally give me an answer, $100, $200, $300. And I'll be like, okay, cool. What do you think something like this should cost, considering it has unlimited, data for your system. So your cameras are always recording and your system can call out 24/7. You have 24/7 monitoring by the police department, fire department, paramedics. You have cloud storage, so you can view all your cameras from your phone anywhere you are in the world. You have a lifetime warranty, so if anything breaks or malfunctions, we'll come out and fix it for you at no cost. We'll replace it for you. And what's cool about the warranty is 5 years down the road, if something breaks, we'll replace it and you'll get the newer technology. So I really juice up the service that we offer because it is really amazing. And also you need to get them tied down to paying that monthly service fee. So I ask them what it costs, and normally they give me a pretty good answer. They think it's going to cost $200 or $300 a month, which is where you want them to think it is going to cost, because that's a good temperature check. If they tell you that they expect this to be $200 or $300 a month, and then you tell them it's only $60 a month for the service, they're going to be pretty happy about it. So I'll go over the upfront costs, and then I'll go over the service, and then I'll kind of break it down and say, hey, with the program that we're running out here today, if the home qualifies, we get to give you a pretty good deal. So instead of you paying all of this out of pocket, instead of you paying this monthly service fee, all you're going to do is pay one fee that covers your equipment, the installation, and the service of $120 or whatever the monthly service is. And then I'll explain how it goes down here. And the best part about this is it's not a promotional rate that goes up over time. In fact, we protect the rate for 60 months. After that, it drops down to $49.99 or whatever the base service is. And the reason why it drops down is just like when you get a cell phone. After the 5 years, all your equipment is paid for. It just drops down to the base service rate, and you'll have everything with lifetime warranties. That's why the neighbors kind of consider this their forever system. So I make the 60 months a good thing. I explain how it drops down and how once they get down to that base service rate, with the protection plan, with all their equipment under warranty, this is something that they're gonna, invest in one time and have it forever. After that, I'll just roll right into some, things that I ask from the customer, because I like to get small yeses. As I go through my close, there's never really this big moment where it's like, hey, is this something that you want to do? Hey, does this make sense? I just get them to agree to some small, simple yeses. And by them agreeing to that, they're agreeing to the deal and they're agreeing to the close. So first thing I'm gonna ask is, hey, one of the things that we ask is that you leave out one of the little orange signs so it's visible. We get a lot of visibility, and you make a great reference point when I'm talking to your neighbors. Hey, could you leave the sign out for us? Yes. Second thing that I'm gonna ask for is a positive post. Are you guys on the Nextdoor app? Are you guys on the neighborhood Facebook group? 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be on there. So ask them to make an honest review of me and everything that I do for them. This is a really key element in kind of unlocking your turf and making this job, easy, is by, using the power of social media. And I'm asking for that in the close, so that when it comes time to get it done, they've already agreed to it. Another thing that I'm gonna ask them to do is be flexible with us as to when we can get the system installed, because obviously we have technicians in the area and our plan is to do a same-day installation. So I'm asking the customer to be flexible with us, that while we're in the area, we can get everybody done at the same time. The third thing I'm gonna do is go over the brochure. And this is a great point to basically build value on Vivint as a company if you haven't yet. I think that's a really key element in closing, is making sure that you've built proper value on the system, you've built rapport with yourself, you've also built value on Vivint as a company, so that the customer knows that when you leave and Vivint has taken kind of control of the account, that Vivint's gonna have their back and they're gonna deliver on all the promises that you made to them. So I think that's a key element. And then I like to close basically with a funny joke. I'll be like, hey, there's one last catch. For some homes, this is kind of a deal breaker. That's why I save it for last. But on Sunday, we're gonna come by and paint all the doors orange so it matches the sign. You like orange, right? And I'll just kind of let that sink in for a second. Most of the time, they kind of hop on the joke right away. They're like, you're just messing around. Sometimes they actually believe me and they're like, yeah, I guess that's okay. And then I'd be like, I'm just joking. After we kind of have a little laugh, I'm rolling right into the qualify. I think it's important that you don't ask for confirmation and you don't wait for confirmation. By rolling right into it and just asking for the information to move the sale forward, if they're giving you the information, it is a yes, right? But you don't actually need a verbal yes, confirmation that they're actually gonna move forward with the sale. So just confidently move the sale forward by simply saying, hey, so Vivint does have the final say. It's just a quick little qualification to make sure you guys own the home. You have some form of established credit, and there's no warrants out for your arrest, right? And then it's just a little joke that kind of lightens the mood before you ask for their personal information. Because sometimes, if you don't explain why you're asking for their information and you ask for the last 4 of their social, or you start asking their birth date, then they might, the customer might back off a little bit and say, hey, why do you need that information? So I think it's important that before you go in for the close and you ask for the customer's personal information, that you are explaining why, because you're making sure the homeowner, they have some sort of credit. And then that makes that transition as smooth as possible. And just a few general notes about closing is just make it simple, make it easy, make it fun. Don't make it this whole big serious thing like, hey, you're taking out a loan and it's gonna be this and it's gonna do this, right? Just explain it very simply, explain it very easily, make closing not a big deal. And just go into it with the confidence and energy, and you're gonna get good interactions with your customers, and should make the process easy. And know your stuff. Know what you're gonna say when you close. Know how to explain the paperwork. Know how to handle objections at the end, because you are gonna get objections. Explain it in an easy way, and you guys are gonna close deals like the pros. Okay, so the challenge I have for you guys is number 1 write out your whole entire price drop and closing script word for word. Because if you can write it out, then you can internalize it. Step 2 of that process would be, grabbing your roommate or grabbing one of your buddies in the office and just role playing. Role playing is the mother of all learning. So, just confidently go through the script and really get it down word for word. Because if you can have your price drop down, word for word, like your manager teaches you, if you can be confident when you're delivering it, you're gonna close more deals. So more houses that you're gonna get into, you're gonna convert into customers. You're gonna create more referrals, right? And if you guys can close more of the houses that you guys are getting into, you guys are gonna have a very successful, summer. We not only wanna get into the house, we have to, actually close the customer and, secure the deal. The other thing I would say about closing is nobody wins if you don't close. So, become a master at closing and, you're gonna win and the customer's gonna win and the company's gonna win. And, we're gonna make the world a safer place, one family at a time.